Did you ever stop to wonder where your desires come from? Have you ever wondered what manifestation actually is? And what do parallel realities have to do with both of these things? Well, we're going to get into this today, guys. Welcome back to Mystic Soul Tribe. Thank you so much for being here. So, I have quite a bit of information to give to you today, so I'm going to try to keep this as concise and as simple as I possibly can. And if this is your first time hearing information like this, you may need to listen to this a few times before it's able to integrate because it's quite the concept. But I want to start off by reminding you that you are an infinite being. You are a divine, infinite being. And there are infinite versions of you living in an infinite number of parallel realities. So right away, that's pretty big to wrap your head around, isn't it? But keeping in mind with this is all of these versions of you and all of these different realities, it's still you. It's your same soul, your same consciousness. And in a way, it creates this super soul consciousness. And how I perceive this is all of these versions of you combined, all of this consciousness combined, I believe that that is what we have termed to be the higher self. So now, having laid that groundwork, let's get into the desire aspect of this. When we get a desire, it is something that we are completely passionate about. We can't stop thinking about it. We're excited about it. And we are just simply drawn to it. And in most cases, we don't even know why. But I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you where this is coming from. You can look at your desire as kind of a piece of information. Because what's happening is that your desire is coming from one of these versions of you that already has and is being fulfilled by this desire. So it's almost like a trickle-down effect. Or another way you can explain it is essentially a telepathic message to yourself. So I'm going to say this as well because I feel like this is going to come up and this might be a little bit of resistance that some of you could have with this. So I'm just putting this out there to help you along with this because I bet there's going to be questions with this. So please know that your desires that you have, you wouldn't be able to perceive them or even fathom them if they weren't available to you. And that's pretty cool information because again, knowing that these desires are coming from this version of you that already has it, well, technically you do already have it because it's all you. And you are not separate from your desire. You are your desire. And you're not separate from your desire, just like you are not separate from these other versions of you. So I hope that allows you to rest in the knowing that your desire is available to you right now, in this eternal moment of now. And the other thing I want to add to this is even though it seems like our desires are coming out of thin air, they're not. As I just explained, you now know the source of it. So we've gotten our desire, we've identified our desire. So now, of course, we want to manifest it, right? So how do we do that? And this also leads into what is manifestation really? Because it seems like a lot of people think that manifestation is sort of creating something magically out of thin air. But again, that's not really the case. A concept that we need to understand with this is creation is already finished. Everything that has happened and will happen is actually playing out in millions and millions of different ways in this eternal moment of now. So, how I define manifestation is actually shifting or aligning. We're shifting and aligning to that version of us, to that reality where we already have and are being fulfilled by these desires. That's what manifestation actually is. So how do we do this? How do we shift? How do we align? Well, this is where the techniques come in. And guys, I don't want you to overcomplicate this. I see this so much. You know, people start asking, am I doing this right? I'm not seeing any movement in the 3D. I don't notice anything different. Well, let me tell you, the shift happens on the inside first. It happens within. The 3D is simply a mirror reflecting back to you your inner state. So most likely you're not going to see any major changes in the 3D right away because you're shifting and aligning on the inside. And again, that 3D is just reflecting back to you your inner state. So ultimately, once you've shifted and aligned to that reality, that's what the 3D is going to mirror back to you. So now we're going to get into the techniques, how we shift, how we align. The only reason for techniques, the only reason why we implement them is to get us into that wish-fulfilled state. Essentially, it's bringing what we're perceiving to be the there to here. So there are many different kinds of techniques. The top 3 are visualizing, affirming, or scripting. There are many more, and you can even feel free to create your own. As long as it's getting you into that wish-fulfilled state, you're golden. The other thing to keep in mind with these in selecting your technique is it needs to feel effortless to you, enjoyable, and natural to you. So it shouldn't feel like you're forcing it or, you're not enjoying doing it. It needs to be natural and you need to be happy doing it. So it's going to differ for everybody. Personally, I'm a visualizer. I started off affirming and it felt too forceful for me. I found it much easier and it's a more relaxing process for me to visualize. But like I said, to each his own. Everybody's gonna have their own technique, and also, like I mentioned, you can even create your own as long as it's getting you into that wish-fulfilled state. So this is important. It's the frequency that you're coming back to that wish-fulfilled state, as opposed to how long you're doing a technique for. So let me explain what I mean by this. Say you get yourself comfortable and you're planning on doing like this hour-long visualization session. Well, that is a long time. That's a long time to try to keep your focus and your energy in one place. And what most likely is going to happen is you are going to begin your visualization and you're probably going to get into that wish-fulfilled state within the first few minutes. But then your mind's probably going to start to wander, your focus starts to wander, the energy goes somewhere else, and then you're having to focus on bringing that back here, bringing it back to the visualization, bringing it back to that wish-fulfilled state. But again, that's really, that's forcing it, and we don't want to force, okay? So most likely, and then you're gonna do that for a little while, and you're gonna come out of your visualization session being just cranky and annoyed, and that fulfilled feeling is going to be nowhere in sight. So a more manageable and a more effective way to do this is, whatever your technique is, you are going to do that for a couple minutes at a time, just enough to get you into that wish-fulfilled state. And you're going to do that for a couple minutes at a time, but you are going to consistently come back to that throughout your day. And what you are going to find is going to happen is you are going to be able to stay in that wish-fulfilled state for longer, and it's going to be easier to hold. And ultimately, what's going to happen is you will be able to get into that wish-fulfilled state probably without even needing to employ that technique in the first place. And that's a great place to be, because that means the wish fulfilled has become your dominant state. And when the wish fulfilled has become your dominant state, that is when that shifting and aligning with that version of you in that reality is really happening. So it's like it inevitably merges together with that reality where you're experiencing your desire. So, like I said, I don't want to bombard you with too much information on this. It's a lot, especially if you've not really gotten into these parallel reality concepts before. So I'm going to wrap this up here, and I do intend that this was helpful for you. I will be sharing a lot more information like this and continue to dive into these concepts and elaborate them even more. And if you guys have any topics similar to this, or topics on manifestation, law of assumption, please leave them for me below, and I might make a full video on them. So before I go, I just want to remind you again that you are a divine infinite being, and you have complete control over your reality. You are the God of your reality. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever it is that you might be watching this, and I will see you again very soon.